Hey everybody, Ian from ianarthurs.com with another video for you. As usual, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Today's video is a little bit different. I'd also like to use my channel, aside from lesson content, to do some degree of gear talk. And gear reviews are great, and I might do some of that kind of stuff, but I'd like to do it kind of more in my own way from the creative side of things, of what can you do with it. There's already a lot of videos out there, comparing different pedals with each other and things like that, and giving you all the different sounds and the full ranges. I'd like to kind of give some ideas of what else you can do with them. So today I'm going to be talking about two Electro-Harmonix pedals that I love to use in conjunction with each other. And that's going to be the Electro-Harmonix Lester G, which is a spinning speaker simulator, and the Pitchfork, which is, has multiple octave and harmony functions. We're going to use it in pretty specific ways to kind of achieve a cool solo guitar organ sound. Now, you're not necessarily going to be able to take this and go do a jazz trio, organ bass kind of gig all of a sudden. But it's fun to play around with at the house, and maybe you might find some more uses for it as well. I would occasionally use it on a gig if it was just me and a drummer, where I would maybe fill some space doing this kind of playing. The challenge is that once you have that element there of you have your bass sound and your harmony on top, your chords, it's really hard to let that go whenever you go to take a solo, and I personally am not the best at doing that back and forth, combining that solo guitar style to really achieve that. That's not my main thing. So, but I do like to use it in a walking bass context and still do some chord playing. So let's go ahead and take a listen to how it sounds here. So I always kind of think it has more of like a church organ sound for that combination, but I really like the feel of it. The texture of it is really cool. It's very easy to play with. It feels very compressed, like it's easy to play, which is really cool as well. It makes just things come out very naturally. And I'm not even using the actual compressor on the Lester G right now, which has that compression side. I'm not currently even putting that on. I find that when I use that, it's too far in that direction where it kind of nullifies all of the dynamic touch. So I like whenever I play, I like to be able to get quieter if I want to, and louder, bring it back up. And whenever the compressed side is kicked on there, everything is pretty boosted. Now, admittedly, I don't love compressors in general, so I didn't really play extensively around with it. I could just have technically bought the Lester K if that also interests you. It's the same thing, but without that compression side. Might be a good fit. Probably would have been a good fit for me personally, but that's not what I bought at the time. I thought, I'll get the full Lester G, and I don't really ever use the compression side. Very, very rarely do I. So that's kind of my thought on that. If you're looking at those two pedals, you don't necessarily need that compression side if you're like me and you want to have a more dynamic touch and a lot more control. But once again, playing around with the settings, you can probably find a happy medium more than I have. So, but I've also used that pedal for sure on gigs where I'm covering a piano player. Like I play with a lot of blues groups and stuff like that around, and I've subbed in for the keyboard player where I am playing organ parts for the night, and I kick on the pedal, and does it fool everybody? No, but does it bring the texture of that as opposed to having two guitars just chugging away with a kind of steady rhythm part? Yeah, it breaks up that. It gets rid of having two competing guitar parts doing largely the same thing. So I think texturally speaking, I think it's a really nice option if you have a band with two guitar players and no keyboard player. Somebody could use that and try to fill more of that organ side. Yeah, I don't think it's required, but I think it's pretty nice to do that. I'm a big fan of texture. That's one of my favorite words in music. Now also, Electro-Harmonix, if you know their products well, you know that they already do make specific organ pedals, the B9 and the C9, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't have those. I've never played through those, but they look really cool, and they do largely a lot of what I'm talking about as well, but even more exactly, if you're looking to be an organ, like more exact on that. So, but that's not what I had, and not how I started playing around with that, these sounds. I had the Pitchfork already, and got the Lester G and started messing around with it and saying, oh, this is really cool. Now, the Pitchfork, how that plays in here is I currently have it on the setting where it's giving both the low octave and the high octave, as well as my own sound. I have the blend fairly low, so I'm still getting my own guitar through there as well. So you're hearing 3 octaves of every note that I'm playing. So when I play a B flat right here in the middle of the guitar, you're also hearing B flat here, B flat there, and B flat there, which every time I move, since I have the pedals still kicked on right now, you're hearing multiple octaves on each one, but those are the 3 that you're hearing at once if you have no pedals kicked on. So that B flat in the middle there, or B flat down here, you're getting 1 octave below, so it's giving more of like an actual, bass sound compared to just playing a guitar part with it. But I still, like I said, I have it, fairly low blended, so it's not really powerful on that bass side, or the octave upside, because it does start to get a little bit muddy. It does track really well for playing multiple notes at a time if you're doing that. But once again, if you go too far up, it gets a little bit extreme, which I'll go ahead and kind of adjust my settings here and let you hear what it sounds like. So here's what it sounds like now. I've taken the blend control up a little bit on the Pitchfork to give a little bit more of those octaves and a little bit less of my guitar signal just being in the middle of those. So when I'm playing, I'll play just like a simple little bass line. Start bringing the chords in. So yeah, so I mean, it sounds great either way. Bring that blend control up though, since I'm using the dual mode for giving me both the octave lower and the octave above. It is increasing not only the bass octave, it's also increasing the higher octave as well. So you're just hearing a lot more of everything, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you're getting rid of your middle octave on the guitar, which is what you're actually playing. the actual true place you're playing on the instrument, and you're adding more of the one below and the one above. Like I said, it tracks really well still, even with the Pitchfork, the Lester G, both on, like everything sounds great. So it really works, and once again, it feels easy to play. It doesn't feel like there's lag or anything, and I've played some other like Leslie or organ simulator pedals that, they sound really good, but quite frankly, like I've had some lag issues where they weren't that useful because it just didn't feel that great to play. So the sound was cool, but it didn't feel fun. This feels really fun. I can sit here and just walk through a bass line on a blues or something like that for hours and just have a good time. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think that kind of covers my thoughts on it and gives you an idea of what it sounds like playing through it. I'm also using my PRS Custom 24, a Quilter Tone Block 202 with a 12-inch cab there. So that's what you're hearing, and I have a line out from the Tone Block 202 and XLR out into my recording interface. So that's the sound that you're hearing. That's the full scope of it right there. So, but let me know what you think. Is it a sound that you think is cool that you would use? One that you're not interested in? I, like I said, rarely use it for actual gigs. I have, but not a whole lot. And it's kind of more for creative purposes than anything else, which is really fun. I think that's a big part of playing guitar. I think we sometimes get so wrapped up in the practical side of things that you forget just to have fun. And sometimes I like to sit down here and just play, and that's okay. So I think we need to keep that in mind too. But all right, well, thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.